the middle of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. You know that here in Florida. 760,000 workers have lost their jobs so far this year. Businesses and families can't get credit. Home values have fallen. Foreclosures are on the rise. Pensions are disappearing. It's harder for you to make the mortgage, or fill up the gas tank, or even pay the bills at the end of the month. So at a moment like this, the last thing we can afford is 4 more years of the same old tired economic theories. The same old theories that say we should give more and more to millionaires and billionaires and big corporations and hope that prosperity trickles down on everybody else. The last thing we can afford is 4 more years where no one in Washington is watching anyone on Wall Street because politicians and lobbyists killed common sense regulation. Those are the economic theories that got us into this mess. They haven't worked. It's time for a change, and that's why I'm running for president of the United States of America. Now, Senator McCain has served this country honorably. And at the end of this long race, I want to congratulate him on the tough race that he has fought. But when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the central issue of this election, the plain truth is that John McCain has stood with George Bush every step of the way. He hasn't been a maverick, he's been a sidekick to George Bush. Voting for the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy that he once said were irresponsible. Voting for the Bush budgets that took us from record surpluses to record debt. Calling for less regulation at a time when we needed more regulation. Called for less regulation 21 times just this year. Those are the facts. After 21 months and 3 debates, John McCain still has not been able to tell you, the American people, a single major thing he'd do differently from George Bush when it comes to the economy. I mean, the Republicans are spending a lot of money on ads here in Ohio, but if you watch those ads, you don't know. Florida. I've been traveling too much. They've been spending a lot of money in Ohio, too. And let me tell you, Jacksonville, you have to ask yourself, is there one different thing that you have heard in these ads that would tell you what he would do for the economy in the future? He spent most of his time talking about me. The truth is, John McCain just doesn't get it. Remember what he said when he was here in Jacksonville on September 15th. That day, more than 5,000 jobs were lost. More than 7,000 homes were foreclosed on. The day before, former Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan said we were in a once-in-a-century crisis. And yet, despite our economic crisis, John McCain actually came here to Veterans Memorial Arena and repeated something he said at least 16 times on this campaign. He said, and I quote, "The fundamentals of our economy are strong." You don't need to boo, you just need to vote. Florida, you and I know that not only was John McCain fundamentally wrong, it sums up the fact that he's out of touch. This out of touch on your own economic philosophy that says you should give $700,000 tax cuts to the average Fortune 500 CEO, $300 billion to the same Wall Street banks that got us into this mess. A philosophy that says we shouldn't give a penny of relief to more than 100 million middle-class Americans. It's a philosophy that will end when I am President of the United States of America. That's what John McCain doesn't want to talk about. He spent the last few weeks calling me every name but a child of God. Because that's how you play the game in Washington. When you have run out of ideas, then you try to distract and make big elections about small things. So we may see a little more of that over the next 24 hours. More of the slash and burn, say anything, do anything politics that's calculated to divide and distract, to tear us apart instead of bringing us together. But that's not the kind of politics the American people need right now. Florida, at this moment in this election, we have a chance to rebuke that kind of politics. Not just in the short term, we can end it once and for all. We can prove that the thing that's more powerful than negative campaigns is the will and determination of the American people. That's what we're fighting for. We can change this country. We can prove that we are more than a collection of red states and blue states. We're the United States of America. That's who we are. That's the country we need to be right now. Now, Florida, I know these are difficult times. I know a lot of you are struggling. But I want you to remember we have faced difficult times before. The American story has never been about things coming easy. It's been about rising to the occasion when the occasion was difficult. It's about rejecting fear for unity of purpose. That's how we've overcome war and Great Depressions. That's how we won the great struggles for civil rights and women's rights and workers' rights. That's how we'll write the next great chapter in the American story, starting here in Florida, starting here in Jacksonville, tomorrow. Understand, if we want to meet the challenges of this moment, we're going to have to set aside the old ideological debates, the divisions between left and right, the old arguments that date back to the 60s. We don't need bigger government or smaller government. That's the old argument. We need better government, smarter government, more competent government, a government that fights for you. That's what we need.